So today we are learning to multiply a decimal by a whole number. And you can pause the video and write the WALT and the date in your notebooks. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to use these 100 grids, similar to the ones we used yesterday, to show you the answer to this problem. And then we're going to solve it a different way, more of an easier way, but I want to show you the model so that you can kind of understand not just how it works, but why it works. So 45 hundredths times 3. So I just have to draw 45 hundredths times 3. What I'm going to do is I'm going to just fast forward to my finished product. Okay, so what you'll see here is that we have one whole and then 35 hundredths would be my answer. So I know that 45 hundredths times 3 equals 1 and 35 hundredths. And we can see that just looking at this model. Now I want to show you another way to do it, because this way is just easier than having to have your hundredths grids every time you're trying to figure out these problems. So simply, it's 3 times 5, 15. 3 times 4, which we know, plus 1 is 12, 13. Carry the 1. Now we have 3 times 0 is 0 plus 1. Notice that when I solved this problem, I did not at all think about these decimal points. I solved it as if this was the number 45 and this was the number 3. Although this doesn't have the same value, the way that we multiply these numbers stay the same, even though there's a decimal point here. But this is the key to the whole thing. This is what we cannot forget. And we have to think about it a little bit logically. This is 45 hundredths, and this is 3. My answer will not be 135. Because when multiplying, if you have 3 45 hundredths, we know that this is not the correct answer. So the way you figure out how many decimal places is in your answer is that you look in the problem. And I notice that there's 2 decimal places. There's 2 places behind the decimal point. So in my problem, there needs to be 2 decimal places in my answer. So I put my decimal point right there. And my answer is 1 and 35 hundredths, which is the same as over here. We're going to do a couple more problems together to go through the steps of this. If you feel comfortable and you know how to do this, and you may move on to your independent practice. Okay, so these are problems 3 and 4 in your guided practice. So we'll just go through these two together. What I want you to do is we'll do the first one together, and I want you to try the second one on your own. So pause the video before I talk through it. I'll remind you, because it'll just give you a second to try to process it on your own and then try it with me. So 2 times 8, we do this like any other. I know there's a decimal point right here, 9 and 8/10 times 2, but right now, ignore the decimal. So 2 times 8, 16, carry the 1. 2 times 9, 18, 19. So now we have 196, which is wrong. Because when you think about this, even if sometimes I like to do this just in my head to help me, if I'm going to estimate these numbers or use compatible numbers, this is about 10. This is 2. So 10 times 2 I can do in my head is 20. So isn't 196 correct? No. Sometimes we just need to remind ourselves, is our answer reasonable? No. So let's look in this problem. How many decimal places are there? One number behind the decimal point. So in my answer, it would be the same thing. One number behind the decimal point. So here's my decimal point right there. So here's my one number. And then I'm done. And 19 and 6/10 is very close to 20. Pause the video now. I want you to try number 4. So now let's do it together. So 7 times 8 is 56. I'll put my 6 here. Try my 5. 6 times 8 is 48. Plus 5, 53. Try my 5. 8 times 0 is 0. Plus 5 is 5. Okay, we know this is not correct. So now we look at where my decimal is. We know that it's not 536. So I have 2 numbers behind the decimal point. So in this problem, I'm going to need, in this answer, I will need 2 numbers behind my decimal point. So 1, 2. Decimal point goes right there. But yeah, and I mean, we can even estimate this. Even if we were to estimate this number to 1, 1 times 8, 8 is close to 5, much closer, 5 and 36 hundredths, much closer than it is to 536. So we know that this answer would be correct. Alright, so I want you to keep moving, try the independent practice on your own, and we'll talk about a few of the problems at the end of class today.